Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, and we're going to get started with the program now. And at this time, I'd like to introduce the Secretary of Housing and Community Development, Secretary Ken Holt.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It's great to see you here on this beautiful sunny day. I would like to take the opportunity to thank a couple of folks who've attended here. And please welcome Jack Young, President of the Baltimore City Council. Jack. Joining us also is Steve McAdams, Executive Director of the Governor's Office of Community Initiatives. Steve. My compatriot in this effort, the Commissioner of Housing in Baltimore City, Paul Graziano. The Lieutenant Governor of the State of Maryland, Boyd Rutherford. At this time, it is my honor to introduce the Governor of Maryland, Governor Larry Hogan.
Well, thank you very much. I think we also have Delegate Nathaniel Oakes here with us today. Somehow you didn't make the list. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Well, thank you all very much for being here this afternoon. We are here today to announce an important initiative to help promote revitalization in this great city. Last year, the streets here in Sandtown, Winchester, were near ground zero for the riots. As the world watched, homes and businesses were burned, looted, and ransacked, while police officers and firefighters were attacked and injured. We immediately responded to the crisis and moved our entire operation here to the city. We brought with us 4,000 members of the National Guard and 1,000 additional police officers who worked quickly to help restore calm and peace and order to the city. The morning after the riots broke out, I was at Penn North as the sun came up, and I met with and hugged and cried with neighbors who were helping neighbors clean up the broken glass and the mess from the fires. Next, we came here to Sandtown and met with people throughout the community. In the days and nights that followed, we walked the streets of Baltimore. We listened to the concerns of residents and small business owners, and we thanked countless community leaders, law enforcement officers, firefighters, and soldiers. We touched every single corner of the city. And while I will never forget the violence and lawlessness that sought to tear this city apart, I will always remember the hope and the optimism I saw that truly defines the amazing people of Baltimore. The neighbors here in Sandtown and at Penn North who came together to clean up after the destruction, the community leaders and faith leaders who walked the streets with us and delivered a message of calm, peace, and hope. Since those dark days of April, there have been many questions about what's next for Baltimore. As the legal process moves forward, one important chapter will come to a close. But if there's any hope of truly changing Baltimore, there are a number of long-standing, serious challenges facing this city which must be addressed. And we at the state level want to do our part to help find creative and innovative common sense solutions. Over the past few months, our administration has announced a series of initiatives to deliver real and lasting change and improvement to Baltimore City. We launched school-to-career opportunities for Baltimore youth, improved educational options for college-bound students. We invested $135 million to completely transform and improve the city's entire transit system. We closed down the notorious Baltimore City Jail, and we have begun to foster, that's the first clap we got, closing the Baltimore City Jail. And we've begun to foster a pro-jobs economic climate after years of decline. Over the past year, we've added more than 53,000 jobs, the largest gain in the Mid-Atlantic region, and we're now growing jobs at one of the fastest rates in the nation. State of Maryland spends more than twice as much per capita here in Baltimore City as we do in the rest of the state. We're increasing investment here. We're taking action, and we're making great strides. But fixing what is broken in Baltimore requires that we address the sea of abandoned, dilapidated buildings that are infecting entire neighborhoods. As I walked the streets of this city over the past 2 years, people were repeatedly calling out and begging us to help do something about the blight that is all around them. For years, and in some cases decades, complete city blocks have been made up of entirely of dilapidated and dangerous vacant row houses. They aren't just unsightly, they're also unsafe, unhealthy, and a hotbed for crime. Well, we have heard your calls for action, and I directed our administration to finally find solutions to this long-standing problem. And so today, we are announcing an historic multi-year partnership between the state and the city to immediately begin the process of demolishing thousands of empty, decaying buildings throughout Baltimore City. We're calling this transformative partnership Project CORE, C-O-R-E, which is shorthand for creating opportunities for renewal and enterprise. This is a perfect name for this project because the city of Baltimore will always be the core of our state and at the core of our economic development and revitalization efforts. You should all know by now that I'm a guy on a mission who wants to get things done and wants to get them done now. So our work will begin not years from now, but right now, today, this afternoon, with the 1,000 block of North Stricker Street you see behind us. Through the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development and the Maryland Stadium Authority, the state will provide $75 million to fund and carry out the demolition projects. The city will then provide for any necessary relocation services and will contribute 25 cents of in-kind services for every dollar spent by the state. This nearly $100 million investment will be a collaborative joint venture. Before any money is spent, the city and the state will work together to identify the properties that should be demolished. Once these vacant houses have been removed, these locations will be converted to green spaces. Together, we will plant grass and trees, build parks, and transform these neighborhoods from centers for crime and drugs to places our city and our entire state can be proud of. The significance of this cannot be overstated. It literally can have a transformative impact on neighborhoods and on the entire Baltimore community. I'm confident in the success and outcome of Project CORE because there's no one better at managing unique and complex initiatives like this than the Maryland Stadium Authority and our Department of Housing and Community Development. From day one, the focus of our administration has been on economic development. Our priorities are jobs, struggling Maryland families, and restoring our economy. That is why I'm pleased to announce that the state, through the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development, will also provide more than $600 million in financing opportunities for the private sector here in Baltimore City over the next 4 years. This includes more than $150 million just this fiscal year to encourage private sector investment throughout the city, working with the private sector to invest in projects like new businesses, new retail stores, and new affordable housing. Will help ensure that Baltimore becomes a better place to live, to work, and to visit. I love the city of Baltimore, and I love the people of Baltimore. Maryland's largest city should serve as the economic and cultural heart of our state. It can and it will. But simply put, we can and we must do better. The same old, failed solutions from the past will not be enough to turn this great city around. We need new, innovative, collaborative, and bipartisan common sense solutions. The residents here in Baltimore City deserve a commitment from their leaders to deliver real and meaningful change so that Baltimore's future can be brighter than its present or its past. Today, we are taking another important step toward achieving that goal and toward changing Maryland for the better. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Governor Hogan. I'd also like to introduce Senator Catherine Pugh and Senator Bill Ferguson. Our next speaker is Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake. I would like to express appreciation to her and her staff for so enthusiastically and collaboratively working with us on this historic opportunity. Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to everyone, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
God bless you. Thank you. Didn't know it was that difficult. I want to thank the governor for being here, Secretary Holt, Chairman Kelso. I want to thank the Lieutenant Governor, and this is the second time we've been together today, and all of the cabinet members and the community members who are here today. This is a very, very important announcement and a very important day for Baltimore. And I say that because, you know, I listened to the governor with great attention, and I am very, very grateful for his commitment to Baltimore and his appreciation for the challenges that we have. And I also appreciate the fact that we share a commitment to doing something about it. As a public servant, one of the things that drive me as a public servant is making Baltimore better than the way I found it. And one of the challenges that I saw when I became mayor is that we weren't doing enough when it came to blight and abandoned buildings. That's why one of the first things I did as mayor was to get the Commissioner Graziano, to revamp the housing department. And I told him, I said, you have to get this right for our citizens. Hire who you need to hire, fire who you need to fire, but you have to deliver to me a blight elimination plan that works, one that's innovative, one that speaks to the needs of our citizens, and one that would justify the type of investment that we're seeing here today. And I'm very, very grateful that my team developed Vacant Value, and we celebrated the 5th anniversary of that just a few months ago. That's been heralded nationally and internationally as an innovative way to remove blight from urban areas. And I want to thank not just the Housing Commissioner, I want to thank my Deputy Mayor Colin Tarbert and all of our partners who helped make it happen. I want to thank the members of the delegation who are here, who've been supportive of our efforts, because we cannot do this work alone. As I fight every day to grow our city by 10,000 families, we need the support of everyone who's willing to roll up their sleeves and get the tough job done to make the investments necessary to move Baltimore forward. I also want to thank one of our critical housing partners for this particular community, and that's Habitat for Humanity and its CEO, Mike Costo, here with us today. A great deal of time and resources and planning have been devoted to getting us here today. Revitalization and broad urban development has to be thoughtful. It has to be insightful, and it has to be well executed. And I want to thank, again, all the members of my team for delivering on that promise that they made to me in creating Vacant Value 5 years ago. I want to thank also the Department of Planning. I want to thank, again, the Housing Department and all of our team, including the Vacancy Value team and the Growing Green Initiative. Today is important. We're taking steps in partnership to further the renaissance of the Sandtown community. And with this new state investment announced today by Governor Hogan, we will be able to advance the revitalizations of more neighborhoods across our great city. This enhanced commitment from the state will allow us to accelerate the success we have had to date with our internationally recognized Vacant to Value initiative. Vacant to Value has been proven to be a critical component of new development and enhancements to the quality of life here in our city. Since its launch more than 5 years ago, Vacant to Value has filed receivership cases in more than 2,000 privately owned vacant buildings in our city. We've helped to initiate the sale of over 1,200 property, the rehabilitation of more than 2,600 vacant properties, and the demolition of nearly 2,000 dilapidated structures. We've awarded over 500 homebuyer assistance grants and adopted and greened over 900 vacant lots. We're not waiting for anything or anyone to make progress here in our city. We have been pushing for progress, and I'm proud to announce even more progress here today. During this time, I have quadrupled the city's funding for demolition to $10 million over 10 years. And since fiscal year 2013, we have committed $45 million in city funds to demolition. And our 10-year demolition budget calls for a total of $132 million in city general funds, city bond funds, state funds, and federal funds towards this effort. But throughout the 5 years of Vacant to Value, we have consistently noted that our biggest limitation is the need for more funding, particularly support from our state and federal partners. It is a fact, also noted in the recent Able Foundation report on Vacant to Value, which described our program as the city's most ambitious blight elimination effort in decades, hindered only by a lack of funding. While other cities, most notably the city of Detroit, have been permitted to access the federal troubled asset relief programs or the hardest hit funds for blight elimination dollars, Baltimore has been unable to do so because Maryland did not qualify for TARP funding. That makes the state's commitment announced today by Governor Hogan even more important and more impactful. As I envision this partnership, I see the state's commitment essentially helping us put our demolition dollars on steroids, or I should maybe this week say on HGH. Between the state's new dollars and our continued efforts for the city departments of housing and planning to identify blocks for demolition, we should be able to make tremendous progress over the next 3.5 years. Baltimore City and the Maryland Stadium Authority have worked closely together on a number of initiatives. Currently, we're partnering on the city's billion-dollar school construction and renovation effort, and I am confident that based on our existing relationships, that we will be able to maximize this partnership and continue the track record of strong and productive work. I'm proud of how our comprehensive Vacant to Value program is spurring growth and redevelopment in Baltimore City, building vital living spaces and creating a sense of place in more than 200 unique neighborhoods. We're stabilizing communities, building a strong and prosperous future, and as a part of Vacant to Value, I also launched the Baltimore Homeownership Incentive Program, or BHIP, in 2013. In the 2-year time frame since we launched BHIP, over 1,400 homebuyers have been assisted through this program, receiving down payment support, home buying grants, and low-interest mortgage rates. Altogether, the city has invested more than $10 million since 2013 in home ownership incentives. This represents a quadrupling of the city's annual funding to home ownership incentives since 2010, when I became mayor. To further assist families, earlier this year, again with the Lieutenant Governor, I launched the Grand Slam Home Ownership Program in partnership with the state. This partnership between the state of Maryland and the city of Baltimore, another great partnership, provided working families additional incentives, including closing cost incentives and federal tax savings. And as the end of December, I am told that 212 home buyers have been approved for the Grand Slam program, and it's over $7,500 of incentives, putting us on track, we can clap for that, to help over 1,100 home buyers this fiscal year, making this a record year, 33% increase over fiscal 2015. And yes, despite what many in the media want to say about the relationship between the city and the state, we do get along. We do find ways to create meaningful partnerships and work together and cooperate on important programs to help the citizens that we serve and the businesses that we serve. And before I close, I want to offer a bit of background on why this initiative, our Vacancy Value Initiative, selected this particular block in partnership with the state. In the late 1980s, the Nehemiah Project, spearheaded by the Enterprise Foundation, created 300 new and rehabilitated housing in the Sandtown, Winchester, and Penn North areas. Today, these nearby vacant properties jeopardize that stronghold of home ownership in this community by demolishing these vacant properties, including the 1,000 block of North Stricker. We will replace blight with community green space and ultimately support home ownership in Sandtown, Winchester. We will be demolishing the 20 properties along the odd side of the block first, and then the even side of the block, which is currently undergoing environmental testing. We expect demolition should be ready to go in about 6 months on the even side. Those demolition efforts will build upon the continuing work of the community development cluster of Sandtown, Winchester by both the city and our not-for-profit partners. Habitat for Humanity has been investing in Sandtown, Winchester since 1989, and I want to thank them for their continued hard work, their continued investment and commitment to our city. Building more than 300 Habitat homes within a 15-block focus area. And since the launch of Vacancy Value in 2010, the city has sold 74 city-owned properties in that focus area as well. Filed 21 receivership cases on privately owned vacants in this community to promote the rehab of this very vital neighborhood. In addition, 58 lots have been adopted, and we've awarded a 5-year lease to Strength to Love Urban Farm, which is creating urban agriculture and urban ag jobs in Sandtown. Our actions have contributed to the rehabilitation of 30 properties so far, accounting for $1.7 million in private investment leveraged for community redevelopment. The revitalization of this community and communities like this throughout Baltimore remains one of my top priorities. And as Governor Hogan just described, it's also a vital interest of the state. We are jointly celebrating this incredible milestone today. Together, we are moving Sandtown forward, and we're moving our city forward. Thank you again, Governor Hogan, for this important commitment today. Together, I know that we can continue the fight to eliminate vacant homes in Baltimore and accelerate our effort to grow Baltimore for the future. Thank you again.
Thank you. Senator Shirley Nathan Pulliam, who represents this district, has expressed her regrets for not being here today. She's out of town. Our final speaker is the chairman of the Maryland Stadium Authority, Thomas Kelso. He's a staunch and loyal public servant. And Mr. Kelso, please come forward. There you are. Thank you.
Hi, thank you very much. Thank you, Governor Hogan, Mayor Rawlings-Blake, Secretary Holt, other distinguished guests that are here today. I'm very proud to be here today representing the incredible team of professionals of the Maryland Stadium Authority, led by Executive Director Mike Ferenz. Also here with us today are a couple of our board members, Mr. Joe Bryce and Mr. Gary Mangum. And while I don't see her here today, I do want to recognize the city's representative to the MSA board, Ms. Callie Parthemos, for all the excellent work that she did in helping bring this program together. Is she hiding? Yes. She's over the Over the 30 years of its existence, through project after project, the MSA has earned its well-deserved on-time and on-budget reputation. We are honored and excited that Governor Hogan has asked us to assume management and coordination of this dynamic project. in partnership with Baltimore City. As a resident of Baltimore City myself, I understand just how important it is to have the state and city working together to help solve problems and accelerate change. Since the inception of the MSA, we have worked on many projects partnering with Baltimore City, some mentioned by Mayor Rawlings-Blake. These include Camden Yards, the Baltimore City Convention Center, the Hippodrome, all, I think we would agree, are iconic projects. And as the mayor pointed out, we are currently managing the $1.1 billion construction program for Baltimore City Public Schools. Through that program, we hope to revitalize Baltimore City schools, as well as the neighborhoods around them and the community groups who rely on them. We will be breaking ground in the next few weeks on the first such school. At the MSA, we partner with other state agencies, local governments, and other private sector and members of the private sector to build more than structures. In conjunction with our partners, we've helped rebuild neighborhoods, revitalize communities, create new business opportunities, and open gateways here in Baltimore City and all across Maryland. Along the way, we've utilized our expertise to bring projects in on time and on budget. And for this project, we will utilize that experience to identify as many efficiencies as possible to help stretch these very valuable dollars just as far as they can possibly go. We look forward to working with our partners on this project, including Secretary Holt and the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development, and Commissioner Graziano and the Housing Authority of Baltimore City, to help build on the foundation of a new beginning for Sandtown Winchester and other communities throughout the city of Baltimore. Thank you.
Well, now we get to the really fun part. All the talking is done. We're actually going to tear down some buildings. So how about a big round of applause? We're going to knock down this building, right?